Okay, alright, so well done on drawing up all of our component parts. The next few tutorials are all going to be about assembling our little wooden toy into a finished project, realistically. So I'll do this in a number of parts because it takes a little bit of time to get used to it, but once you get into the idea of how it's done, I'm sure you'll get quicker at it. So what I would suggest we do first is go to your My Onshape. And again, you want to, I've got some different folders. I appreciate I'm going to folder, but I'll go and get it. So what I want to start off with is our cab base. Just wait for that to load up. So I've done a drawing of it. Don't worry about that. We'll look at that in a second. So we should have our cab base to start with. And you can see on our cab base, we've always got this assembly icon. Again, if that assembly icon's not there, you can just actually add that by adding this plus symbol and then creating an assembly there, but I'm going to use the assembly that's there. So what we need to do then is start inserting all our different parts. And what you've got on this, it looks very similar to the Drone Mum, got slightly different icons. So we've got mate connector, fasten mate, all these different things about how we can join all our drawings together, and we'll run through that. So first thing we'll do is insert part. So we're going to insert our cab base, and you'll see it drops in. Again, it doesn't really matter where it goes. I would drop it so it's somewhere near the middle of that origin. And the first thing we're going to do on that first part is what we call fix it. So I've right clicked, and I'm just going to click on the fix button there. That stops me moving that in space, if you like. You see it's fixed around that origin. So it's what we need to do to the first part to just help the rest of our assembly. When we come to adding another component, we then need to just go to this other document. Again, go to My Onshape. Like I say, I've got a couple of different folders, but we then want to look at adding our cab. As I say, when you add your cab, yours might come up with a little pop-up box basically saying that you want to create a new version. Basically, it copies it from your original drawing of it into this assembly. I can see that I've already done this because mine says V1 here, so I'm just going to show you how it would look to you guys. Clearly we're not going to use this wheel support first, but just to show you. So it'll basically say that you create a different version, create a version of trailer wheel in. All you have to do, again, I would stick with that and just click create when it asks you to do that. So I don't need that one. I'm just going to go back. As I say, I've already got mine. I've done. Oh, sorry, wrong one. So bring my cab in exactly like before, and then just click to add it on the screen. So you can see, click it anywhere. I would avoid trying to position it anywhere near. So I would always move it away a little bit. It's a lot easier when we come to do our mating. So how mates work. Let me just move it over there for the moment. So we've got lots of different types. So this one here, and again, if we hover over it, it actually tells us a bit more information about what each of them does. So we're going to look at a fasten mate. It removes all degrees of freedom. So if you think about how I might assemble my my wooden toy here, I basically want the bottom edge of this attached or mated to the top edge of that. I then also want the side aligned with this side here, and I then want the front aligned but slightly offset from this front edge. And again, in all CAD packages we used to have to do that every single time. We had to fix it three different ways. So I have to do that. These days they've sped it up a little bit, so we can do this fasten mate, which basically does all three things in one. So click on fasten mate. I'm going to hover over the top of my base, and you can see it basically selects the top face, and we've got this this icon here, which is actually this bit here, this mate connector. That's basically where it's going to actually, think of like a dab of glue. Basically where it's going to glue it all together, the position it's going to glue it. So what we can do though, we can actually move that. So all I'm doing, I'm not clicking anything, I'm just hovering over, so it's still the top face. I can move that mate connector to basically anywhere. It could be in the centre of a hole or that type of thing. Well, I actually want to move it. So the top face is there, and I want my mate connector right at that front corner, opposite where the hole is. I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to right click and rotate. I'm going to do the same thing on my base. So select the bottom. Again, if I was to leave it there, that mate connector would actually align with that one on our base, it would be selected the wrong way. So we want it to connect on this front edge here. That's where our chamfer is. So I want it to basically connect there. And you'll see, think, oh, that's not right. It's all gone a bit wrong there. However, what we can do, we can flip it. Oh, that's still wrong, so I'm going to undo that. Or I can reorientate it. So these two little icons allow us to, oh, if I keep going round, so you can see it does it in sort of 90-degree stages. So I get it where we want to be. So you can see we've got it pretty much, so it's aligned from the two sides, line at the front, and basically stuck on to the top. However, if you remember, our cab should actually have a 5mm bumper at the front here. So if we go to this little box here, you can see there's a little button that I can check that says offset. And again, if we look here, it's now brought this little out. So I've got these little red X, Y and Z. So I'm going to say that I want an offset on the Y direction of 5mm. So hopefully when we do that, it'll actually... So again, what I can do, I can sort of preview it by moving it back like that. So you can see that's going to be right. So once I'm happy with that, yeah, everything else stays the same. I can then tick on the box and you'll see that I can no longer move that. It's actually like glued on to our base. So that's the first part we're going to have a little look at, is attaching that section. Once I've done that, I'm then going to work on attaching my exhaust. So again, go to insert, go to search it, so my on shape, again, I've got my, well, these are it. So again, I'm going to click my exhaust. Again, it wants to copy it, so yes, create a version in exhaust. Again, I just leave it as V1, it's fine that. Click create, and you'll see it'll pop up here. Like I say, that's just creating a copy for your assembly. Once I've done that, again, click on it, drag it, trying not to position it in the right place, drag it onto our work. Once we're happy with that, we then go back to this fasten mate again, because we want it to be fixed in position, so click on that. This time I'm going to select the very bottom, so I might have to zoom in, so you're using your middle mouse button, or pan, which is holding down your middle mouse button, and then select this very bottom surface. Again, it will if I zoom in a bit more, again, that's not right, that's the top of the chamfer. We need to be on the very bottom surface, and we need that mate connector right in the middle. So once I'm happy with it, I'll left click, and then zoom out, rotate round, I'm going to pan across, and want to try and get the bottom. So you can see at the moment that's actually selected the top face and the top of the hole. So it basically means it won't insert our pivot pin right to the bottom, our exhaust, sorry, to the bottom. So again, we've got to really zoom in, position it so I can get to the bottom of the hole. So you can see it's now selected the actual bottom of the hole. The mate connector is right at the bottom in the middle. I can left click and it will actually put it in the correct place for us. So we've then inserted our first exhaust. So we're getting somewhere near. Again, automatically tries to do this, so you can just click off that one because you don't need any more fasteners, and then we do exactly the same for our second one. So you can see the benefit of CAD is that I only need to draw it once, and I can basically just insert it into it. So again, fasten mate, select the very bottom, make sure that mate connector is right in the middle, and then zoom out, rotate around, zoom back in again, and again I want the very, very bottom. So again, you've got to zoom in quite a lot to allow it, there we go, to allow it to go to the very bottom of the hole, mate connector is right in the middle of that bottom of the hole, and we then fasten that. So let's click off the cross. We've then created our two exhausts. Last thing we're going to do is we're actually going to insert the pivot pin, so we'll do that. Go to other documents, my own shape, pivot pin, create a version, click on it, and again it's exactly the same way. So we're going to do the same fastened mate. So again I'll go to the very, very bottom, make sure that mate connector's in the middle, drag it over, and then we're going to make sure we're right in the bottom of that hole. So at the moment that's the top face selected, That's it, we're right in the bottom, just double check. Right in the bottom of the hole. Still not quite doing it, so I'll just reposition it. So there we go, right at the bottom of the hole. It's hard to see that, but right in the middle. And then we've got our pivot pin attached. So that's the first part of our assembly done.